Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin will be leading us now in his second breakout session, which is a discussion on children's private education. That's a subject that I personally am very interested in. I know that several of you also have children, and perhaps the rest of you one day will have children. And even if not, we all are around children in some way, shape, or form. So hopefully we can enjoy and learn from this discussion. Let's give a welcome to our moderator, Kevin.
Can you guys see my screen? No?
Yes.
Yes? Yes? Okay. I will do it. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Yeah, hello, my name is Kevin, and today I'm ready the subject for discussion, but I think it's a little too realistic compared with answers, but okay. The topic is children's private education in South Korea. So let's begin. I ready some introduction and input information, and then we can discuss. Okay. Actually, this is my two sons' private education schedule. It was last November, and you can see Alex is my first son and Andrew is my second one. And after school, even they
I'm
are.
sorry, Kevin.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't see the slide right now.
Oh, really? Yeah, I will do that. Can you see? No.
We see, yeah, we see the PPT with all the slides on the, yeah, there we go.
Can you see the schedule?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it is. Even they are only 8 and 5 years old, but they are very busy with that kind of schedules. So I was surprised when I came to MBA and I gave some ride to them, and it was very complex. And this is picture taken in my first son's elementary school is Iwa Women's, and you can see all the mothers and father who will take their children. And in Korean, there is a word about the helicopter mom. So maybe you can read, go son. She can, take his son everywhere, kind of. And also when I Googling, I can see some kind of helicopter parents. They all care about the children like this picture. And this is our class pictures. And I see two foreigners who are very clever. And actually, professor is raising his children in Korea. So I think it's very good to have a chance to talk about this. And Inyoung and Dongi brother who raise the same age. And also, Jessica and Namgi is very young and smart and not married, but they can give us some good points. So I'm ready to clips. It's very short and it will take 3 minutes to see. No, sorry.
South Korea is known for excessive spending on private education. Last year, the amount reached a new high. According to data by Statistics Korea, parents spent a total of some $17.2 billion on private education for their children, an increase of 4.4% from 2017. More than 70% of students across the country received some form of private education last year. Excluding those who didn't receive any private education, monthly spending per student came to some $350, up 4.6% on year. While the data is the latest reminder of Korean parents' enthusiasm for education, extra uncertainty ahead of the reform of the college entrance system in 2022 could also be another driving force.
Yeah, this news is about 2 years ago, and the last week we have almost same news. Just see.
South Korean parents are well known around the world for dropping big bucks on their children's education. However, as the pandemic bites into lots of people's budgets, the average spend per child on private education plunged more than 10% in 2020. Bae Eun-ji reports.
South Korean students spent an average of $253 a month on private education in 2020, down 10.1% compared to the previous year. According to Statistics Korea on Tuesday, 66.5% of elementary, middle, and high school students nationwide received private education last year, down 7.9% point compared to the previous year. They spent an average of 5.3 hours a week on private education, 1.2 hours less on average than the year before. When only looking at those who actually participated in these types of education, students spent $380, up 0.3% on year.
Average expenditure in private education for students who participated in these types of education has never dropped before. The fact that it only rose slightly last year is probably due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
The director of Statistics Korea added that this is mainly due to less spending on art, music, and physical education.
Elementary students' private education in art, music, and physical education dropped, and we think this is probably because these types of activities require students to gather closely together.
By subject, math and English saw the largest amount of spending, with nearly $80 a month spent on each subject. But compared to the year before, they fell by 4.8% and 0.5% respectively. Spending on Korean language study increased the most in 2020, with a 3.4% on-year increase, bringing the average spend to about $21 a month. Bae Eun-ji, Arirang News.
Yeah, here is what I ready for discussion, and actually, yeah, this is our first discussion, so maybe, yeah, anybody can say their own opinion about the private education. Maybe, I think Inyong brother is a good person to say about the education.
Yeah. My son is the third grade of elementary school.
Mhm.
I hope my son studies well. And around where I live, private education is, I think private education is most active place in Korea. But my son is not taking any private lessons. I think studying is important, but I wonder if study is most important in his life.
So your son doesn't take any 학원 right now?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. And I know Dongi brother. s-
Uh, a frustrating reality in Korea, I think. My daughter is also the third grade of elementary school. She also spent about 500 more private education per month now. But I'm not sure whether investing in education is actually effective. But because of the COVID-19 situation, the education gap in Korea is getting worse and worse, I think. So actually, I have no choice but to educate, go on. That's it.
So you said you are not sure about the result, but it's inevitable to do it, right?
Yes, I think the circumstance is very important in Korea, I think.
Mhm.
You know, the Daechidong kids.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so
Yeah, thank you. And maybe Namgi is a Daechidong kid too, but not Daechidong, but yeah. How was your experience? Because
I'm Stone Kids.
really,
So I lived that kind of, as you showed us, like the schedule. So
Mhm.
the memory of my school days are full of academy and private tutoring. So
Mhm.
I don't think private private education is bad, but as you can see me, going to academy doesn't mean your kids study well. So I
Oh,
think when your kids wants to do something like I want to do piano or art, that then it's better to support that time. So I think many academy and tutor ruined me because
Mm.
when I don't know about the problem or something, the teacher just teach me and give some answers for me. So
Mm.
I lose my creativity or problem solving knowledge, or I don't know, but yes, I'm victim of Textone Kids.
Anka, just for information, Daechidong is a very famous town for private education. We call Hagwon, and there are a lot of Hagwons are there. So. Okay, thank you for sharing your experience, Namgi. And
Sorry, can I just ask? So, Namki, you said you went to private education, but you feel that it this took away from your creativity.
Yes, I think so. Because Korea's education goal is going to great university. So we just find the answer of the question. So that is the purpose of Korea education. So I think it lose my creativity or.
And then in what kind of setting do you think you would not have lost your creativity?
Pardon?
In what kind of situation you would not lose your creativity?
Actually, I go to some atelier for my artwork. So at that time, I can do what I want. So I can creative in the atelier. So
Okay,
And
I think yeah, the time is limited. So I think Jessica is trying to say something.
Actually, I really didn't try to say something, but I have some opinion about this because I'm also a beneficiary and also a victim of private tutoring. And in personal opinion, I think really private tutoring is only for kind of adolescents that if that adolescent student ask for it and the parents can provide it, but
Mhm.
I really want to ask the parents why they are so giving their children that all of the so many kinds of private tutoring. And I think that music, art, and every kind of physical activity, it is good for giving them the opportunity to experience the new things that they haven't experienced. But all about the math, the science thing, the English thing, in fact, that English is something you can learn through the time and experience and cultural thing, not just memorizing the vocabularies and remembering the grammars. And also, you can learn how to add things and how to multiply things when time goes by. And something can time solve some problems. And I think people, quite a lot of Korean parents should learn how to wait and see how their kids grow rather than just send them to private tutoring to solve rather than think their children as a problem to solve. Yeah.
Yeah, because of the time limit, I think actually I ready this subject because for our professor, he graduated Harvard, and I think he also has the same consideration. So I just give just 1 minute to answer your opinion.
I'm sorry, you on my, what is the question?
How do you think the Korean style private education?
Well, so it's a big deal, right? It's a national kind of phenomenon. And I was thinking about the word value, right? The reason why private education continues to be a multi-billion-dollar industry is because people value it, right? People value it because they believe that it will help their children achieve an edge, a competitive edge to getting into prestigious universities, which will set them up for an easier path as far as getting a well-paying job, which affects their their marital prospects, etc. That's kind of the script, right? And I think as long as people kind of abide by that system, it'll continue to exist. And in my opinion, the solution is to stop valuing it. The solution is to, for parents. I think parents need to be more active in their kids' education, and this is something that it's taken me a while to embrace and to figure out how to do it with my kids. As some of you know, my children are in Korea, but they're not in the Korean school system. We wanted them to learn Korean and be exposed to the culture, but we definitely did not want them to be involved in the whole rat race, so to speak. So now they're in an online school that is very much more aligned with our values. And because of it was online before COVID. Now many schools are online, but I believe that one advantage of online schooling, even before COVID, was that parents have to be involved. We're here. I can listen to what they're learning. I'm very much more involved in their work. So yeah, the solution is not one thing, but it's many things. But I think parents, like Jessica said, need to stop treating their kids like some kind of problem to be solved or dumping them off at private academies they can do those things. There are advantages to learning. My kids go to a piano teacher, but you have to be looking after your children's overall well-being, and also their character is more important than, you know, their knowledge. So that's something where parents have to be more actively involved, I think.
Yeah, I really thank you for your opinions. And yeah, unfortunately, I have to finish. And actually, when I read these materials, yeah, I think the same way, just like you. Maybe you already know this Eric Carle's caterpillar story. It's simple because when the caterpillar eats the red color, he become a red color, and when they eat some kind of yellow and become, so I think this kind of eating thing is the parents can give to the children. So I think, yeah, to coach or how to guide to them is very important thing. And okay, I will wrap it up. And really thanks to hear and discuss about this yeah, this problem or this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. We actually have a good 7 minutes. We don't have to stop right here if you have any more topics or comments, questions.
Yeah, actually, can I ask some questions about the, is there also free education in Korea? Like, is there state education? And then there's the paid private education, right? And what is the sort of the percentage or the proportion of people that go to private schools versus to public schools? Approximately.
I can answer that real quickly. I think it's a little bit, the term private education in this discussion is referring to like after school academies. So most students are in public schools, but then after school's over, they go to these private institutions. There are, of course, private schools as well that students go to during the daytime. But I think Kevin is referring mainly to the after school program, basically what's called hagwons, these private academies, not the traditional kind of morning to afternoon school.
So basically the kids go to normal school, and then after school they have lots of extracurricular activities and they're really busy with these.
Yeah, that's right.
Get ahead, yeah. And is there, do kids decide what schools they want to go to? Like, what are their interests, or do parents decide for them mainly?
I think when they're young, the mom can just choose a hagwon and then let him or her go. I think that's very normal way. But what Namki said, when they grow up, they can choose what they want to run or.
Kevin, if I can make a comment, you shared in the beginning your kid's schedule, and that was a great way to build, again, the personal connection to you, to the topic. What solutions, if any, have you and your wife come up with? Because you said it kind of seems crazy, right? You're just running around, dropping them off places or picking them up places. What are your thoughts?
I thought that was too harsh. So I tried to reduce some kind of academic, but instead we enroll some art or the gym, like, so we can, yeah. So yeah, that is our conclusion.
So it's more like the variety, not just doing academic things, but having creative outlets, physical outlets. Like,
Yeah,
like,
that's right. Yeah,
like the news clip mentioned, that's what people are neglecting these days, right?
yeah.
Is the arts, the music, and the PE. Does anyone else have a comment or question?
Yeah, Kevin, thank you. I grew up in a small city, and I didn't take the private education. And my wife grew up in Paragun in Seoul, where private education was activated. But I think we have same level of education. I think we have the same level of education. We graduate from the same university, and my wife has a master's degree, and also I am in MBA. I think habit of studying oneself is very important. Yeah, and health is best. Thank you.
Great.
Kevin, I'm going to give you some very brief feedback for
Yep.
anyone who wants to give discussions, especially. Okay, Tongi, have a nice day. Thanks for being with us. So I thought, first of all, thank you for trying something new, the discussion. You're the first one in our class, as you mentioned. You did a good job of sharing very relevant information and videos that were not too long, so they did not dominate the time. You called on Inyong in the beginning. That was good, right? I've mentioned that's probably good to point to people who may be able to start a conversation on a certain topic. I like the categorization of our class. When you showed the picture of our screenshot of our class, at first I thought that was a mistake. Like, wait a minute, are you looking at the website? And then you had little arrows, how you kind of, were able to point out different characteristics and commonalities among different pairs of us. That was kind of clever. I liked it. And I like that you explained Dechidong and Hagwon to answer. So you were aware of the audience and, maybe some terms that might not be clear. The best thing to improve is at the beginning, have clear questions. Like, start with a clear question, right? Specific question. Because if you just talk freely, it goes all over the place. It gets very scattered, and it's hard to come up with any kind of maybe conclusion or learn much. So I would recommend, as I said in the the guidelines, to prepare like 1 to 3 questions that you can ask to everybody, or maybe just one specific person if it's more relevant. Okay.
Yeah.
But otherwise, thank you so much. Yeah. I appreciate it. Okay. Let me you can go ahead and stop.